Alright, well now I got it powered through a reed switch and we are just about complete levitation, and the capacitor we're running on is just this little 160 volt 47 microfarad capacitor, and I'm just using this just to charge it, and it's at 106 volts at the moment. And right here is its off stage, and the capacitor is still draining because it's the way these capacitors work. So you can see the self drain on it is pretty decent. Motor isn't spinning, but as soon as I trigger it to where it moves right there, and that's where you can see where it's draining to the like to the motor. It is definitely more efficient than it was before with this very low friction shaft and point, but like I was thinking, I thought it would run a lot lower in voltage. It does, but not substantially more, and it's mostly due to the imbalancing of my rotor. But it runs a lot longer at the higher voltages due to the like the way less friction, but it's still due to the very minuscule amounts of field interactions either from inside of my, I should put it on the concrete floor actually to try that out. But yeah, anyway, just due to that reason I can't get it to run any really lower than 30 volts. So if I short it out, you can see it's draining quickly. So that's just a full load to all the coils in series. And when you think about it, a full load on a tiny little capacitor is that's pretty low drain, to be honest with you. Alright, now let it start again. And it's still, that's its self-draining, it's not at its trigger point. Right now it's getting to its trigger point. And you can see it pick up a little. But due to the fact now that it's stopped, it's because of the imbalancing of the rotor, I believe. It seems like it, but I don't know. It seems like it's just doesn't want to turn. I bet you this is actually attracting it a little bit, just a tad, because these are, you know, ferrous material. But as you can see, once I get it to that threshold, it'll trigger, it will spin. So it does still have torque actually, even though that it just can't do a full rotation on its pulse. So right here you can see, right when it turns on, there, it turned on. So it has power to turn it when it's in its position, but as soon as it lets go of that latching part of the motor function, it just can't continue its rotation. Even though that it has such little friction, it still can't do it. I'm kind of shocked that it can't, because there's like hardly any friction at all. You can see the tiny gap. I got it even less of a gap, so it's like right on the verge of attracting. It's like right there, and we're balancing, or we're friction source is just the tip of that needle, or the point of the shaft. Very little. And I even have a little oil on there too to help with the wear. If it does wear, it slides around pretty easy though. It's not like it's pushing it on the material very hard. But yeah, we are as close as we can to frictionless for this pulse motor. We're still at 20 volts on this tiny capacitor. But now when I charge it, you'll see how quickly it charges. And it's already like right there. So I'll go right there is 160, and it's already off to a good pace. And there is definitely some torque there, you could feel it. Oh, now the switch is getting messed up. These reed switches can't handle high voltages, unfortunately. Yeah, the switch is messed up now from that. Dang. That's why I didn't use these on my high voltage pulse motor. I made mechanical my own switches because of the arcing. The gap between the electrodes in there are like so little that it doesn't matter if it's like designed for, high arcing. It's gonna close that gap and start arcing between it because the voltages are just too high. The gap between the electrodes need to be larger for it to work for this motor. But I didn't think it would do it around 160 volts, but I guess it does, unfortunately. I'd have to get a bigger reed switch so they have bigger gaps. Or, use a transistor. But even those only work up to a certain voltage. But anyway, that's what it is right now, and there's really not a whole lot more I can really do with it. Besides maybe switch but as in virtually no friction, that's as far as I can go with it. There's literally hardly anything here for friction. It almost is a better idea just to have it free spin on its own because it just has such little friction. And you can see as I spin it, it does charge the capacitor. Sort of. The switch is getting messed up, so not the greatest. Anyway, I'll let you guys go. See you later.